Hi everyone, it is Jo, clinical psychologist. Today it's Sunday, so it is time for my PJ Sunday ramblings. Now, I've decided today to talk about tinnitus and vertigo because it is coming up and up, not just in my clinic, but in Facebook groups. People are contacting me about their diagnosis of Meniere's disease or BPPV, which is that benign positional vertigo, or vestibular migraines, all these conditions that are related to the vestibular system. So the vestibular system is that sensory system. It's responsible for providing our brain with data that's related to movement, basically. So things like head position, which we call proprioception, things like balance, spatial orientation, posture and movement. This is part of the inner ear, but it's connected directly to the brain. So again, none of our systems work in isolation. We are complex, intricate beings. We are an organism that one part is out, the other part is out too. So what happens with vestibular disorders, we get a lot of migraines, we get a lot of dizziness, we get a lot of vertigo, and the tinnitus, which is that ringing in the ears, the internal sounds. So the first thing, and I'm going to break this down into steps. I want this to be a quick, simple video. Everyone likes simple. Step one is you need to make sure that there is nothing else going on. Now, there are other things that could be happening. Now, often that is not the case, but we want to rule out those major events like some sort of brain injury, a tumor, or could be some sort of vascular problem in the brain. So MRIs or a CT scan, we need to rule out other etiologies for the symptoms. Remembering that vertigo is a symptom. Vertigo is not a disorder in and of itself. It is a symptom of something else. So the first step, rule out all other causes. Now, once that's done, getting my notes, I'm prepared for today, is stop resisting. Now, this one's going to sound odd to you because you're going to say, how do I ignore my symptoms? Well, I'm not asking you to ignore them. Quite the contrary. Number two, I want you to listen to what your body is telling you. Listen to what your body is telling you. The general location of your illness in the body will usually be an indication of the mind powers which have been misused. And the purification of the mind is one of the necessary steps to permanent healing. What happens when you get the tinnitus and the vertigo? You focus completely on your symptoms, don't you? You get ready for something to happen. When is my next drop attack happening? We notice in the silence, the sounds, and that's what tinnitus is. It's a noticing of those internal body sounds. So it's no longer a sound outside in the external world. It's an internal sound. Now, from before birth, you have been listening to internal sounds. In utero, not just in your own body developing, but in the womb, you're listening to the digestive sounds of the mother, the heartbeat of the mother, the respiratory system, the gurglings, the churnings. You have been exposed to internal sounds before you even entered this world. But your brain is bombarded by sounds and information, billions of bits of information every moment. But we filter out what we don't need. So some of those internal sounds we've learned to filter out. Now there's sounds right now. If I get you to stop and pause and bring your attention to your breath or to your heart or to the wind outside the window or the traffic outside, to the sound of your own breath, you will start noticing it. I just noticed a tap dripping. So it's not till we direct our attention to things that we begin to notice them. So what we need to do is we need to start listening to those sounds. What are they telling us? Often they're not telling us anything. They're just internal sounds. But because we have conditioned a response, there's been some sort of aversive stimulus. So originally, there may have been some sort of notice of sound in the body. There may have been some sort of dizziness. But once we've excluded other causes, then we need to start being okay with the sounds we're hearing. And this is related to a science called neuroplasticity. So neuroplasticity, neuro being neuron or nerve cells, and plasticity being plastic being changeable, malleable. The brain responds to stimuli through the senses. Now, our Our brain is up here in our head. It's encased in our head. It can't access the external world except for what we bring into it through this highway of senses. What we see, what we smell, what we taste, what we hear, and what we feel. All data, all of our interpretations of our sense of safety of the world are through the highway of senses. Now that's to the extrinsic world. But there's also the internal world, the intrinsic world, and that's where the tinnitus and some of these symptoms are residing. So you have now developed a response system to the internal sounds that really provide no threat. So we are only able to see 1% or less than 1% actually of all the light that there is available to us. We can only hear the smallest percentage of the sound waves that are out there. But when you become attuned to something, you notice it. When you go and buy, a yellow van, you think, oh, there's no yellow vans on the road until you get a yellow van. And then what happens? There's yellow vans everywhere. We become aware because our attention has brought us to notice things. So that's what happens with these internal sounds. You are now noticing things that are normal, that are natural, that were probably there the whole time, but because they've been cued with aversive stimuli, now your awareness is there. And neurons that fire together wire together. So once you start bringing your attention to these things, you are forming these highways in your brain. You are teaching yourself to hear them. You are teaching yourself to notice them. So we don't want to dismiss this. We want to accept this. We want to acknowledge that this is normal and no longer have that fear response. Now, the fear response happens on a few different levels. It happens on a cognitive level where we think about our experience as catastrophic, unbearable, overwhelming, can't cope with this. But it also happens on an emotional level. I feel terrible. I feel like I've got no energy because I feel like I can't concentrate. My mood is down. I'm agitated. I'm frustrated. I'm sick of this. So these emotional and cognitive mechanisms that we put in place also create those superhighways. It's bringing more attention to the problem, and so the problem continues. So that was step 2. Stop resisting the symptoms. We're going to start noticing them. Number 3 is listen to your body. Now, when we notice what's happening in our body, there are lots of things that our body is trying to tell us. If you feel thirsty, what's your body trying to tell you? This is obvious, that you need to be hydrated. If you feel tired, your body is telling you that you need to rest. There's some really obvious cues. Now, you're aware of those because you've been taught those. You've learned those. But these subtle cues that our body is giving to us, we're not attuned to. When you have physical ailments in the heart or the abdominal region, it is often the result of unconscious emotions and feelings that you no longer are tapping into, that you no longer consciously remember. The hurts, the prejudices, the resentments, the bitter emotions, they manifest in the body. There's a great book for people that have gone through this with trauma. The book is called The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. If you've gone through trauma, it is absolutely most probable that if you haven't processed the trauma, that your body is keeping the score and the psychological injury is now manifesting in very physical, tangible, visceral ways in the body. If this is you, have a look at this book. It will be life-changing, and it talks a lot about neuroplasticity and the principles we're talking about today. But if you've got these balance problems, then your life is out of balance too. Their stresses are overwhelming you, and we know that anxiety triggers tinnitus, triggers vertigo. And when that gets triggered, it heightens the anxiety, and it's this vicious cycle. I see this all the time. We've got to learn how to break that cycle. So by listening to our body, we are learning what to do. You think of the animal kingdom. The animals know intuitively what to do. Cats are said to go away from their homes to die. They know when their life is coming to an end. They're highly sensitized to the cues of their body. And we as humans are highly desensitized. We are much more attuned to the programs and to going to professionals for help when all the healing is right at our own fingertips. We are the masters of our own universe, and we have everything that we need at our own fingertips. You know, there's little thing that I've highlighted in this book, The Healing Secrets of the Ages. Fantastic book. Another one you should get, Catherine Ponder, The Healing Secrets of the Ages. But it says, I am shown exactly what to do at all times and in all conditions. I am able to do everything perfectly now. Now think about that statement and compare that to your own internal dialogue with tinnitus or vertigo. I hear this all the time. You are not alone in thinking, I can't do this. I've tried everything. No one can help me. This is going to go on forever. Those self-limiting beliefs create the outcome. You manifest that reality. You create that belief system. And yes, your body responds to that. But you have everything that you need for healing. You just have to tap into it now. So you don't need me. You don't need professionals. We are only going to give you the keys, the tools. It's going to be up to you what you do with that. But you have the power of healing. You have the secret of the ages. Okay, number 4. So this is about where to get intervention. Now, I've just told you don't need other people, but you need to be put on the right path to health, to healing, to recovery. It is not through pharmaceutical medications. Now, remember point 1, we've excluded other etiologies. This is where there are no neurological, biological, or other conditions that are explaining the symptoms. We are now dealing with a psychological problem, believe it or not. Conversion disorder is very real. It's not hypochondriasis. It doesn't mean that you are making up the symptoms, but it means you are creating them. Now, there's a difference. One is focusing on imaginary things. The other is causing your imagination to bring these symptoms into reality. So get the intervention that's going to help you. Now, what you need to do here is you need to look at the layers, the cognitive layer, the way that your thoughts are maintaining the symptoms. And if you think that you are not getting better, you won't. If you think no one can help you, no one will be able to help you. If you think it is overwhelming and stressful, then it is going to be. So you need to look at the cognitive element. You need to look at the emotional side. You need to learn how to regulate those emotions, to decrease that stress response, to be able to self-soothe and look after yourself. The other one is the cellular level. Now, we were talking before about the brain cells as responsible in the vestibular system and the balance system. So I use frequency-specific microcurrents, but I also use other types of interventions around cellular health. Cellular health at the very basic level starts with what you're putting into your body, the foods, the messages as well. But the being hydrated, drinking the right sort of or the pure diet, clean diet, staying away from alcohol, toxins, genetically modified foods, things with pesticides, get an organic diet, well-sourced food source, and start changing what you put into your body, because that's going to impact you at a cellular level. And speak to someone that does work in the area of frequency-specific microcurrents and get some help with that too. And then that final layer is that neuroplastic layer, changing the brain. Your brain wants to change. It wants to make healthy connections, but it's up to you. You choose what fuel you put in your body. You choose what you focus on, and your brain is just responding to that. So yes, number 4 is get the right sort of intervention. Okay? Do not keep going back to drugs as the answer, because they are going to perpetuate your problem. You can recover from this, but you have to believe that is possible first. All right, number 5 is a similar one to what we were just saying. It's sort of summarizing, and it's that others can't fix you, that you are going to fix yourself. There is a great book that I'm going to recommend. It is called The Brain That Changes Itself. It's by Norman Doidge. Now, Norman Doidge talks about a lot of conditions, Parkinson's, pain, all sorts of ailments that neuroplasticity has been found to have success with. I, in my own clinical practice, use neuroplasticity all the time for pain and a bunch of conditions. I use it for children with ASD, ADHD, obsessive compulsive disorder, oppositional behaviors. I use it with adults that are experiencing pain or mood, depression, anxieties, and I can use it for you also with your tinnitus and your vestibular dysregulations, your vertigo. Okay, so get that book, have a look at it, and it will provide you the answers. In fact, if you look at the 3 books I've recommended today, so The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk, The Healing Secrets of the Ages by Catherine Ponder, and Norman Doidge's The Brain That Heals Itself, you are going to have all of the things you need for that step 5. Others can't fix you, that you can fix yourself. You've just got to know where to get the information from. You have the divine intelligence and the design already in your body. Now it's time to tap into it. So I hope that has been helpful. If you have any questions about this, I would love to answer you. I am located in Bundaberg in Queensland, regional area in Queensland, but we also have global platforms. We can use Zoom, we can use telehealth, Skype, we can use the telephone. But you don't have to stay sick anymore. Your vertigo and your tinnitus can stop today. It really can. And I speak from a place of experience. I went through a very stressful 12 months and I did experience both vertigo and tinnitus, but I have recovered completely from it, and I know that you can too. So if you'd like to write to me, my email is energymedicine777@gmail.com, and reach out, ask questions, put them in the comments below, because I think if we share the information, then that's the best source of healing, is that we all share our knowledge and help each other through our own experiences. So that's it for today. Hope you have a very happy, peace-filled day wherever you are, and look after yourselves and each other. Take care for now. Bye-bye.